The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, good evening. It's Joanna Hart, and welcome to my show, broadcasting live from London. Tonight I'm going to look at a few things, do a few exposés, and I'm going to start with a man called Stephen Crossley, and I hope he's at home. He's an American, and he has approached me to share some things with me, so I am going to add him to the show, and we are going to talk to him later on in the show. I've got a book sent to me, well, a start of a book sent to me by James Casbot, and I'm going to read some of that out because he's requested I read it out on the show. So stick around for that. I'm just going to bring Stephen on. Hello? Hello? Okay, one of these. This is fun. One of these. Oh, gosh. Okay, I think Stephen's got cold feet with coming on the show, obviously. Okay, so still two in the call. I'm going to have to pick the studio up again. 1 second. Not in here, please. Not in here. It's white carpet. Yes, hi. Joanna Hart back again. And I had a guest, and evidently the guest I was supposed to have is decided that it's not a good idea that he will share his tale with us. I do believe his tale was about the army and the American military and certain things that had gone on in the American military that he'd seen, and he wanted to share with me, and I do believe he now has decided that he doesn't want to, which okay, so he was there a minute ago, but now he's disappeared. Okay, so it's commonly known as cold feet. Not that much fun for the person having the show, because then they have to ad lib for a whole 2 hours. So okay, now he's typing to me. I'm trying not to be cross. I've had a stressful day. We're constantly in London being bombarded with pictures of a burning tower. Oh Christ, a burning tower. It's just really depressing. A burning tower, which we've been told is screaming children, and they're banging on the window, but no, they've been burnt to death. And just wherever you look on television screens, there's this burning tower. I'm quite suspicious of the whole thing. I've never heard in my life something like that happening. I've seen it happen in Beirut, places like that, where they drive a truck into the base and then it explodes, and then there's a fire in the whole building, but not really over here in the UK, sunny UK. So that's really an odd thing, and I'm really suspicious of it. I don't believe that it was just a fire, a domestic fire. It doesn't ring true somehow. And I know the media are focusing on sorry, my guest is typing me now, and I don't really understand what he means. Okay, are you there now then? God. Please call back if you can. Okay, well. Okay, I will. And I don't believe it. So the media are really focusing on, oh, who did it? And, aren't the people out of order, and the council should have sorted it out, and everybody's up in arms and talking about suing, but not really about, how it actually started. I think people are willing to believe that it was a rickety fridge. Hello? Oh, no. Oh, God. I'm trying to get hold of my guest again. I'm ringing through again, And I think they're coming now. Hello. Oh, Stephen, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. Yes, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Okay, I can see you. You're obviously saying something. Can you hear me? Nod your head if you can hear me. Yes, you can hear me. I can't hear you. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you try wiggling around with something? No, I can't hear you now either. I can't hear you at all. I don't really know what to do. Do you want to see if you can... Do you want to see if you can sort it out? And then... It's not really the camera. That's working perfectly. I can see you. I just can't hear you. So that's sound. Yeah? Pardon me? I don't. Do you want? I tell you what. I'll ring you back in 10 minutes, and you try and sort it out. Okay? Okay. Hi. I think I'm back live. Sorry. Oh God. I seem to have a guest who can't get their sound. Gosh, it's really annoying me because I'm trying to bring them on. Hopefully, they're a good guest after all this nonsense. But I can't seem to get. Their sound isn't working, so it's, but I can see him, but the sound isn't working. So one more time, and then I will have to give up. I'm just waiting now. This is really trying. Anyway, I'll carry on talking. Hello?
Hey, Christine, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can now. That's good, isn't it?
Technology is awesome.
Yeah, that's fine. So, do you want to tell the listeners where you're, where you are, where I'm speaking to? Somewhere in America, isn't it?
Yes, you're calling to Lake Hills, Texas, just outside of San Antonio. Remember the Alamo.
Oh, right, that's lovely. And your sister, was it, that contacted me, Mary?
Mary is a friend that I met through the Lyme awareness, discussing zoonotic diseases. But definitely a sister or mother figure to me, yes.
Oh, excellent. So, now what was your story? Because I haven't heard it, have I? You were in the army. Do you want to share it with me and the listener right now?
Joined the military in 2001. Officially retired in 2013. I was hit by an IED in 2005 of October, just outside of Ahela, Babylon, Iraq.
You were what, sorry?
I was hit by an IED outside of Babylon, Iraq in 2005.
Oh, right. What is an ID?
Oh, well, an IED is an improvised explosive device, an unexploded ordnance that's wired up and used and weaponized to kill other soldiers.
Oh, right, I see. Now, was it wired up by the Iraqis or your side?
Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't my side.
Oh, okay. So, and is it like a mine? Excuse my ignorance about everything military. Is it
Very
like
much. They were artillery shells, actually, that were wired. I want to make sure you can hear me real well.
No, I can hear you
155
fine.
rounds that were daisy chained together. So maybe 3 shells in one spot, and you can move about 30 meters down and plant another 3 155 shells. So they were made for big explosions. If they don't kill you with shrapnel, they'll kill you with just the impact of collapsing your lungs, destroying your organs inside like a little paper doll.
Oh, right. And they like to use them over there?
Yes, ma'am. That was the method that they used.
Oh, right. And what happened? You were walking around one day and you walked over it?
Negative, ma'am. We were on convoy security. I was a 50 cal gunner in a turret.
Right.
When we were hit. And we were actually moving with KBR and Halburton between, I believe that day it might have been radio relay points just outside of Ahila.
Right. So you were on foot?
Negative. In vehicles.
In vehicles. Okay. And were your friends around you that they were hit too?
At multiple vehicles. So was Halburton as well.
Oh, right. And what happened then? Did you end up in hospital
Yes, ma'am.
for a long
But
time?
I went in 2006. I went into Wounded Warrior Transition Unit at Darnell in Fort Hood, and I left there in 2008. So there was almost 2.5 years of recovery. I had a lot of infections due to surgeries and my wounds.
Right, right. What kind of surgery did you have to have?
I had hip surgery, eye surgery, all kinds of surgeries, hand surgery. I don't know if you can see the scars through my hand.
Yeah.
All that as well. My hip, knee, a lot of shrapnel damage to the knee too. Then on top of the shrapnel, there was more underlying than just physical wounds as well. The illnesses that we didn't know about, the hidden enemy, you could say.
Yes. So that's what you want to talk about today, isn't it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I want to talk about Halburton KBR water purification violations that were committed in 2005. Benjamin Carter was our whistleblower that brought this forward. And the other whistleblower was Will Granger, who supported Benjamin Carter, brought this forward to the United States government, made them aware of it. The United States government sued Halburton and Kellogg Brown and Root over these violations, and they won. But they did not tell the soldiers or the coalition forces. So it wasn't just American soldiers and American workers. It was coalition forces. People from we were members of a team, so from all nations were infected or affected by contaminated water.
Oh, is that linked to you being shot, the contaminated water?
Say again your last.
Sorry.
Please.
Is that linked to your injury, the contaminated water?
All right, that sounds better. Not from the blast, no.
Right.
I was tested positive multiple times and it was covered up. I thought it was Borrelia and Bartonella. Those were the false positives. The positive I had was for Q fever. I just got that information not a couple of days ago.
Q fever, what's that?
Q fever is a zoonotic disease found in things from milk to water purification to food. It's an easy zoonotic disease spread between animals, bovine and sheep. Very common, actually, and very deadly if not taken care of. Are you aware of zoonotic diseases? What do you do, Christine? I didn't even know what I understood a little bit about what you do. I wasn't. I thought you might be more aware of the zoonotic diseases.
I've never heard that word before. No, I haven't.
Well, zoonotic disease is just a pathogen or a parasite that's spread between animal and human.
All right.
I thought I was coming on here to talk about that, and or our vaccine-related injuries as well.
Right. Is this linked to your time in Iraq or not at all?
Yes, ma'am. This is all contributed to Iraq.
In what way? Can you explain how it's linked?
Through the Halliburton KBR water purification violations. Are you aware of that, ma'am? Are you aware that Halliburton KBR covered up the water purification violations, the burn pits? See, we're not even on the same book right now.
We're not, no.
No, we're not. And your viewers probably don't know anything I'm talking about right now, so it kind of makes me out of place. And as a military, this is like an INSUM report. I'm a professional. I want to give an INSUM report, but everyone needs to be on the same page. I'm bringing you into this. That's not my job. It's almost like writing you in. I don't know how to bring y'all up to speed on Halliburton KBR water purification violations. They are public knowledge. Your soldiers over in the UK, they need to know this, that America, Halliburton, and KBR supplied this water and said that this is potable water and you can drink this water, troops. feel safe to bathe in it and drink it. Thing was, it was not purified. There was no chlorination in that water, and the filters only might filter out things between 10 and 5 microns. So we're seeing all kinds of pathogens that came in through the water supply out of the Euphrates and the Tigris, where they pulled our water. So I assumed that we were already on a page that I was coming into. I was not aware. And I think we actually sped this interview up. So I want to make sure that I don't confuse anything, your listeners, and that it would be easier for me to be on the same page so everyone can actually see where we're going with this instead of trying to bring everyone up to speed. It does make it difficult. I was sorry about the interview.
What?
I'm sorry if I didn't understand what we were talking about on the interview.
No, that's fine. Do you want to speak to, I mean, there might be people that have served in the army that are interested in hearing what you've got to say and they don't know about this kind of thing. I mean, they don't know what, do you want to explain as best you can, because it's probably better than nothing, about the what happened?
So if I
all
right, so
you've got plenty of time.
Yeah, my injuries were I was blown up. I didn't find out I was sick until I got to a WWTU, which is a Wounded Warrior Transition Unit through the military. So everything pretty much I thought was basically I got blown up, poop happens and I'm, going to have to deal with it. But as I started seeing rashes and everything else break out, it didn't fit the criteria of PTSD and just wound treatment care. The rashes, the interaction, the psychosis,
what was your psychosis? What kind of things did you experience?
Electroneurotoxicity, feeling, I wouldn't say it was delusional, and hallucinations. See, I thought it was the psychotropics that they had given us, the pharmaceuticals. To counterbalance the issues that we were coming. I did not know that infection, can cause a psychosis in the brain. There's chemical psychosis, there's viral or bacterial psychosis, and then there's just like a chemical dependency psychosis, and then there's traumatic brain injury psychosis, right? So those are really important, and I didn't know what was going on, and I'm getting labeled. And I'm pretty sure, I know more about this than they do. That's how I felt, that I wasn't going to get labeled when I knew I wasn't crazy. And I'm breaking out with rashes and I'm sick and I'm coughing up stuff. And then that's when Halburton, KBR, and thank God, Benjamin Carter, the whistleblowers, the United States whistleblowers that came forward to let us know that they contaminated our water. They burned things that they weren't going to use, and they contained chemicals, and they set that free and right into the living quarters of not just coalition forces and soldiers, but the Halburton employees and KBR employees, all covered up. And if you don't know, I can certainly help you. And if you're not up to speed and you have questions, my email is stevecrosley73@gmail.com. My number is 830-688-0591. If you do have questions that, you think you're one of those coalition forces, you think you're married to one of those coalition forces, or he's a brother, a sister, a sibling, you call me and we'll see what we can do to find out and get you filled in. I have all the documentation, a 40-page document showing the United States sued them. I have all of the whistleblowers' emails. These will help you on your case. If you think that you were poisoned while you were in Iraq between 2003 and 2006, or, I would like y'all to reach out to me. If you have any questions, you want to get filled in, I'll certainly do so.
Was that a really big story when Benjamin Carter came forward and blew the whistle?
Negative. No.
Oh, it was small.
Covered up. No news organization covered it. It was put into a documentary on, if I can remember the name of the documentary that showed the whistleblower, something about war crimes in Halburton. and you'll have to look up the documentary. I'm not even sure who did it. I apologize. It's been a while since I saw it. But you can easily look up United USA poisoning soldiers or Benjamin Carter whistleblower Halburton water purification. There should be enough videos out there to give you, pretty much fill you in.
And how did Benjamin Carter know about this? Was he an employee?
He was an employee that worked there. He managed the hooches. I guess he was in charge if there was anything to be reported. One of the workers came and said, "Hey, there's something in my toilet." He said, "Well, okay." He comes, takes a look at it, and it looks like some little worm in there. He says, "Well, that can't be. It's for the bathroom use, so it's non-potable, but it should be chlorinated." And he went and did a check, and he made a bunch of checks around the potable and non-potable water, and he found there was no chlorine in them, none whatsoever. And there was everything in there between cryptosporidiums to Entamoeba histolytica, all of the parasites that you're finding, like Q fever, easily obtained through water. So by his email and reporting it up higher, he showed them the problem and the corrective action, and yet it was covered up. And it was covered up for a long time on over 6 out of 68 bases. I think 64 of them had these water purification violations or had potable water taken out to radio relay points where forces came in, filled up with water, their canteens, and went back out on missions. And they drank this water. I remember during that time that we could, we weren't even allowed to drink some of the water, and we all had to drink out of plastic bottles, which was very common over there too. And we were definitely told to drink out of plastic bottles at one point and not drink any water. But they didn't tell us not to shower in it. And when you shower, over 90% of your body is covered in those pathogens or contaminants. To get one cut, one nick, you shave yourself, those infections can go in. You're going to drink that water that you're showering in, brush your teeth with it. All those issues Benjamin Carter brought up, Will Granger, and their emails showed their concerns. And when those concerns were brought up, that was covered up. That's where the whistleblower status came in from. It was all covered up. It was not reported by the media in any way. And the media doesn't report a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. What did so Halburton? Can you tell the listeners about what kind of company they are?
I have my opinion. There's all kinds of opinions on Halburton KBR. They're a needed corporation, but they need to work within the confines of the law, constitutional law, at that protects the people, that works for them and the people around them, not just the Americans, but the inhabitants of the country they're in. They're responsible for all lives, and all lives matter, right? I keep hearing it, but I don't see it. That's the problem. Halburton is a needed. They're needed. They're a necessary evil, but they have to be brought to the law on what they did.
So they supply water. They're like a pharmaceutical.
They didn't just supply water, ma'am. Halburton did a lot more than that. They built infrastructure. They were responsible for oil cleanups that were over there, and all that. I mean, there's more than just water purification. They were responsible for infrastructure.
Oh, right. I see.
Building the buildings we live in, the supplying the food, all that.
Supplying the food to the army out there.
Yeah, they're pretty much war profiteers if you think about it.
Yeah. I didn't know what you guys drunk out there. I mean, I guess I assumed you got treated really well and shipped out some nice Evian water or stuff like that. Is that naive?
I'm sorry. Well, you know what? And I appreciate your honesty to say, and say that I'm naive on that, because that's what they're counting on, Christine. You understand that there's so many issues that they can cause that. It's just everyone's Fukushima, Chernobyl. So it's real hard that everyone's got their own agenda. But Eventually, when it comes down to it, I think, Christine, they're going to need their soldiers. You know, we're really good as a member of a team, and we look out for one another. And if there's going to be trouble, your soldiers are going to be your greatest asset, I think. So take care of your soldiers. They're going to take care of you. They're still doing it. Take care of them. They're going to be needed. If you feel that there's going to be trouble, they're the guys that's going to bail you out. They're citizen soldiers. They're for the people, not the government. They're citizens.
So what message have you got for any guys that were out there during that period of time? What period did you say, 202 to 206?
I would say as soon as Halburton took over all the water purification, I would question it. So, but from what I can see between the Granger report, 2003 to around 2006, that's the main issues. The Halburton. There's a lot of issues that have been covered up. The Camp Liberty killer, Sergeant John Russell. Look that guy up. He was sick. He had multiple tours. He could have suffered with those pathogens and then reached out, gone back to a wellness center there in Baghdad, begging for help, not gotten it. You know, he's a malingerer. He's just trying to get out of doing his duty. And he came back and he killed 5 of his fellow service members, 2 doctors and a couple of other troops that were inside there. He was found with a Candidiasis Bartonella or Bartonella. It could have been Q fever. It could have been any of the numbers of pathogens. It's just a test. If you come up positive with Q fever, you're just going to have a lymphatic type of bacterium. May not be Q fever. It's going to be one of those types, and the biomarker just registers higher on that end. But that just tells you that something's attacking your lymph nodes. Bartonella does the same. You might just miss that mark, and that's called a false positive.
So when did he kill the 5 people out in Baghdad?
That was in 2009.
Oh, right. What did you say there was a can of Bartonella found? What's Bartonella?
The Candidiasis Bartonella that I'm concerned with that is weaponized is Candidiasis Bartonella merixi. And it's only found actually in Iraq. But its rate of contagion and the things that we're seeing in that definitely would put that as a weaponized bacterium, because it's very, very, very dangerous, very communicable through sputum, coughing, touching, sexual transmission. I drink out of your cup. That's how dangerous it is. And if you drive a guy to walk into a wellness center and shoot it up, we should at least look at the zoonotic psychosis part of that, causing schizophrenia, bipolarness, all that stuff.
When they investigated it, why did they find out? What did they say?
It wasn't found until he was in Fort Leavenworth, ma'am, in Kansas. Remember, he got thrown in prison. He didn't die.
Oh, I see.
He's still alive. If he's still alive, we can go in right now into his lymph nodes and pull a biopsy, and I can prove everything I'm saying.
So which prison is he in?
I promise you. Well, say again?
Which prison did you say?
Leavenworth, Kansas.
Oh, right. This is after he shot the 5 guys.
Affirmative. Yes, ma'am.
And why did he give a reason for why he did it?
There's many different reasons, and they're still probably writing the stories. I don't know, ma'am. His reason was he kept saying that, he had irritability, bone ache, chronic fatigue, all of that. So your guess is as good as mine. They probably didn't listen to him. He had electroneurotoxicity, a sepsis in the brain, releases a chemical, causes schizophrenia. Bada bing, bada boom. He's a trained soldier. We kill anyway. So it's easy to snap that line.
Yeah. So shouldn't he be in a psychiatric prison to get help out?
He should be getting all that. I'm not aware. It's hard to keep track of him and his lawyers. People don't want to reach out about the Halburton KBR. It's like kryptonite. As soon as you mention it, you're shut down. People don't call you back. You don't get a friendly reputation. This is a giant umbrella corporation we're talking about. These are war profiteers.
I'll have to do my
Not just
research.
Halburton.
Yeah, I'll have to do my research about it. I haven't. If you
Better.
can, if you can send me the stuff you've got, your
I
paperwork,
shall.
okay, and then I can get moving on it because I've, I mean, it's an interesting story to write for
Sent
the
all that
UK
stuff
press.
to Mary, but she probably wasn't able to forward it to everyone. If you notice, I've been on a couple of interviews here lately trying to get awareness to the 22 dying a day. Got a ticket at the VA. I got into a lot of trouble here lately.
Right. No,
Worth-
Mary just sent me a quick message to say that you wanted to talk about war veterans and the reasons why they had the post-traumatic stress disorder. So I thought, yeah, that would be interesting. So that's all she told me, just a quick message, really. I didn't get.
And I thought we were going to talk somewhere around 4:00 a.m. my time, and so I was rushed. I grabbed a couple of handy dandy notebooks. I was going to start a brand new one with you today, Christine, but I guess I assumed between all the talks, maybe I built myself up to thinking that I was already on a platform and everyone kind of was on the same page. I apologize. That's me. I assumed something that we weren't prepared very well, I guess. And
Yeah, well, that's okay.
said, well, I'll take you now. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm always ready. Let's go.
No, it's okay. I mean, my
We're
listeners.
going to improvise,
My listeners don't mind. They like they like to come to a show where we're just feeling our way around. So don't worry
No
too
one's
much.
perfect, but we're going to try it. We're going to make it right. We're corrective action. That's what I'm about.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if y'all want to reach out to me at my phone number, and that's 830-688-0591. I'm not going to tell you it's toll free. You're going to have your charges, my charges. I will discuss all of it. I'll email you personally the documentation I have, and help you and wish you the best of luck and support you in any way I can.
So what sort of symptoms do you think they'll be having right now?
Like right now, I'm diaphoretic. I am running a low-grade fever, and I have bad earache in this year.
Right.
That's something that I'm seeing with actually the Bartonella or Borrelia. You're going to see what they call reoccurring fever or relapsing fever. Either way, it's Bartonella or Borrelia. But what you're going to see is an immunoresponse. You may actually lose and not have Lyme disease anymore, but you're going to have the relapsing fever, which is an immune response. Your body attacks itself. And that's what the VA told me. Well, you don't have it anymore, Corporal, or, Mr. Crosley. What you have is relapsing fever in your body. It's an immunoresponse, which is actually true. But when I went in there and confronted them just a few days ago, they showed that I definitely had the positive for Q fever, which is urgently chronic is deadly. So that's something I'll have to look at. And Q fever is harder to get rid of than I saw Bartonella or Borrelia, because it consists of almost 4 months of antibiotics versus a month. So that's pretty serious when it gets to the chronic stage, and it's deadly. Causes everything I said: schizophrenia. If you actually look up Bartonella symptoms, pretty much the same thing as when it comes to the psychosis, the agitation. But Bartonella symptoms and PTSD symptoms, if your listeners will look that up over here and write down the Bartonella symptoms, and over here on the other list, write down the PTSD symptoms, and just go down the list and look at them and wonder how in the hell this got so confused. And you could see how it got confused. But the fact that they're just labeling troops that never went into combat, that's not, you just don't join the military and automatically get a PTSD rating. But that's what's going on. That's almost like buying off a soldier in some ways. Well, they're giving them 40% disability instantly. But guess what? He got labeled PTSD. He's going to have issues later down the road when he goes buys firearms or whatever. He's a labeled soldier at that point.
I suppose then
wrong label if you're sick or you're having like I said, zoonotic psychosis, chemical-induced psychosis, vaccine-related psychosis. Limerix was a vaccine that was made to fight a Lyme spirochete bacteria. Turns out it gave you all the symptoms of Lyme disease without protecting you. And it was pulled off the market here as far as 2003. They pulled Limerix. And there's lawsuits everywhere. Tell your readers to read up on that too. Limerix is probably real big over in your country too. Really a big Dorothy is a European spirochete. It's not even American.
Yeah, I think we do have that over here. We do have that problem.
I like to talk.
Steve, you're cutting out a little bit.
I said I apologize. I like to talk.
No, that's okay. That's okay because I'm quite worn out, so you can have the floor. So talk away. That's fine. So what are you up to now? You're just kind of trying to bring awareness to this. What radio shows have you been doing?
I did a couple of shows here local. I believe one in make sure I'm saying, yeah, it wasn't Scotland, it was Ireland. And I have 2 stray dogs that just walked up on my deck, on my porch. Guys, Skip, get out of here, get. Yeah. One's a Rottweiler and a little dog, which is he was big and scary. Apologize.
Yeah. That's okay.
I live out here in the hill country of Texas, so stray dogs come up here all the time, and I've never seen those 2. Where were we? Those dogs interrupted.
You were talking about what you're doing now. You're just bringing you've been on radio shows. So you were talking about a radio show in Scotland.
And that was in Scotland. I believe it was Ireland. I did one over a guy that's I believe is in New Jersey. A couple of other radio shows, podcasts. Just bringing awareness to the 22 soldiers dying a day. These soldiers that are now not just committing suicides, but killing civilians in the process of their suicides.
How many more have been killing civilians?
We just recently had a John Newman Jr. that shot 5 in Florida. We had Esteban Santiago shot 5 in Florida airport. We had a Michael Pettigrew, young man went into a Florida airport and had a fake air pistol trying to commit suicide by cop. Robert Rojas, New York, ran over a bunch of people there. Veteran, asked the cops to kill him while he's jumping up and down. There's a few more I've got a list, but unfortunately I didn't bring that handy dandy notebook. I was unprepared.
So is anybody else doing anything about this, or just you?
Have you heard anyone else do anything about this? I'm looking. I'm trying to find them. You point them out to me, Christine. I'm having some difficulty finding these troops.
Yeah, no, I haven't. This is the first I've heard about it, actually. But I'm sure that the troops in the UK will be very interested to hear about this whole thing.
You tell them blokes to call me, email me at any time, because I'm there to help them. I sure enjoyed working side by side with them. I learned wonderful things about them. Wait one. I might have someone pulled up here.
Is it a Rottweiler coming back?
Maybe it might be the owner of the Rottweiler. I don't know.
Right, which is better than the dog itself, I suppose.
Well, as long as the owner's got him, he's probably just looking for him, and they're over here trying to eat my dog's dog food or something. It's not a problem. They haven't come over here on my side to knock or let me know they're here. They're probably just looking for their dog. I apologize. Nice, wonderful neighborhood out here by the lake here, just outside of San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. Better than
nice
London.
Place to retire. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, excellent. But I suppose you got to support yourself, which is difficult.
I am fully retired, ma'am. I earn my retirement. I also draw Social Security and combat compensation pay. I was taken care of. The issue was they didn't tell me I was going to get sick on top of being blown up. The other thing is they didn't tell these other soldiers either. And my obligation is to the men, not the, if there's an unlawful order, that's my call to make. We're not following that. They lied to us. They're either for us or against us, right, Christine?
The what, sorry?
They're either for us or against us.
Yes, that's true. I don't think they care, really. I think they think people are expendable. I don't think there's much.
Exactly. We are expendable. Sadly, if the mission, we accomplish a mission, that's the way soldiers are. We understand that. Sadly, we're not fighting World War I or World War II anymore. We're fighting small skirmishes. War is a racket, I'm understanding at this point. And it's profitable to kill people. It's profitable to make them sick. And they have a cure for wellness.
Hmm.
It's profit. If you were going to control a population, why not kill them and profit off their illness at the same time?
Yeah.
A theory, just theory, not a conspiracy. We know it's happening. It's just a theory. Not saying it's happening. I'm not telling your people to go out and they're killing us. It's evaluate, whose side they're on. That's all I ask.
What do you think about current events at the moment? I mean, we've had a lot of bombing in UK. We've had attacks, this Muslim extremists. I mean, that's quite strange what's going on currently.
It's all part of the show, Christine. It's all part of the show. I believe that while your fingers wrapped around that, or you're wrapped around the axle, like we say here in Texas, you're missing the big picture. There's far more. Look at, I have never seen more division, not just in the United States, but your country, Australia, Ireland, Germany, everywhere. And if you believe in the Bible, which Jesus spoke of these things, if you believe in the sleeping prophet, what was his name? Edgar Casey. He predicted the same things. I mean, we're seeing these things. It's happening. People are lovers of themselves. It's me, 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 and not so much about everyone else. So all these things are coming to pass. You see that happening. They were great teachers, if nothing supernatural. They were great teachers, and they were meant to learn from. And information is ammunition. We're seeing it. It's easy to predict because it's happened in the past. If anything, just listen to your history and watch how it happened and it played out. Will it happen again? Yes. If you allow it to happen, you perpetuate that history over and over and over again. And you never learn from it. That's why they say learn from history. If you don't take care of your soldiers, Rome falls. Apparently, someone just brought up a great story about General Butler. I'm just learning so much about the bonus war just after World War One, and how they didn't take care of soldiers. It's very interesting and inspirational.
In what way was it inspirational?
Well, seeing how our leaders did it before us. What mistakes they made, or their obvious mistakes, and he was poisoned. So was the congressman that stood behind him. I'm sorry, but I didn't quite get all this. Just learning this actually. So, but Mr. Butler was a little too trusting. I think that's how the big end of the story. He could have changed history. He could have. Actually, America would have been a totally different place had he taken the presidency that he was offered. I'm still learning the history. I wish I could go into more detail, but I just got all this storyline yesterday from Mary. So, but it was very interesting about the bonus army and what happens when you don't take care of your soldiers. And history repeats itself. Not the first time.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? I mean, it must be odd. It must have been an interesting experience going out to Iraq and seeing what was going on. Were you out there a long time?
Long enough. I learned to speak the language. I got to meet a lot of people. Yazidi, Dawson, the Christian people of Iraq, Kurdish people. I got to learn some of the language. Achi Arabi Shwe. Learned to speak a little bit of Arabic and be nice to them. kill them with kindness. Rather than be paranoid, I was pronoia, where I, tried to be the good guy and understand things. But I learned a lot about Wahhabism and that belief in the extremism, and Thomas Jefferson's history, where the Constitution is not compatible with it, and you can definitely see Sharia law not being compatible with any free nation. Anyone that believes that they have the right to their own freedom and their own judgment, Sharia law doesn't work that way. So it was easy to find reasons to fight. America's been at war with Sharia law since its inception, when we were fighting Babar pirates and created the Marine Corps to fight them. So it was easy to fall within that It's not a propaganda, it's just history. It's easy for someone to lead you down that road of history and, motivate you into the wrong direction. And when I got over there, I found out I was a mercenary. I was fighting for oil, some ancient dead thing in the ground, ancient archaeas, that we run everything on, and we build plastics, pharmaceuticals, and create this fake ass world that we live in, all from oil, from petrochemicals. I didn't lose you, did I?
No, I'm listening. So you felt that when you were out there, you felt like you were in a mercenary, and you felt that it was just all about the oil, yeah?
Not at the time, no. No, I was talking to people, learning their language. My interpreter was teaching me to speak Arabic, along with some other languages there. And I really enjoyed the people. I didn't have to assimilate there. See, I came as a conqueror. When you come to a country and you expect something, you're going to get pushed back. That's their country. I didn't come in to assimilate, but I learned it. I didn't hate them. I was just there to help out. I was not there to take their oil or kill them. I was there to prevent the extremism. The Wahhabism is what I learned about. The Shia people were great people. When I was there, we were fighting Sunnis. We weren't fighting Shia. And in mid-deployment, the Shia were the bad guys and the Sunnis were the bad guys. And that was too political for me. That's when I realized that I'm on the ground and they can't see what I see. And this is political.
What was going on? What was the bottom line? Why do you think it swapped like that, to taking one side and then all of a sudden it was the other?
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran. We pick sides, and sadly, the people that are on the ground who are good, or I watched a bunch of Sunni boys light this donkey and this little boy, because he was Shia. They lit him on fire, and we got to him, and he ended up dying a couple weeks later. But it was it was just over religion, over how they perceived Muhammad and different beliefs, and it was just too much for me at that point. I lost a lot. You go in thinking you're a hero, and then you realize, no, I'm a zero. It blew me out of the water. I saw the good people, and we weren't defending them. All of a sudden, they became the bad guys. It was easy to make them bad guys. It was already chosen by politics.
And so
just
now,
business. Just business, Christine. Don't get upset. It's just business.
No, that's
People's
okay.
lives don't matter.
Well, so it seems. I mean, we just had this weird tower block fire, which doesn't really, I'm finding it hard to believe that it just started from domestic. It just seems, it looks like something you'd see in a country that's at war. Do you know?
War's a racket. We're starting wars everywhere right now. Look at Syria. Look at all. That's what we do. We make countries fall economically. We play with their currency, while using our currency and manipulating theirs. We make nations fall. So I don't know what to tell you about all that. I try not to get into politics and shoot in my lane only. My lane is saving 22 soldiers. What I feel about politics doesn't matter. What the people matter. My policies or my belief doesn't matter. Just the lives that we save. I try to stay within my lane. I really do. Politics, I don't care about politics. It doesn't win. It doesn't win soldiers.
We're just going to break at the moment, so do you want to just, I don't know, have a quick drink and then...
Stroke out here. I'm probably going to have to let you go.
Oh, okay,
I'm diaphoretic and I'm about ready to throw up.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
well... Here. It's hot. It's a Texas heat wave.
Oh, okay, well, do you want to wait a couple of minutes and I'll just come back to you after the adverts? Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, you're the boss. I'll see you after the advert.
Okay.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, it's Christine Joanna Hart, and I'm broadcasting live from London tonight. I have my guest, soldier served in Iraq, Stephen Crossley, who is with us from Texas in America, and we're talking about the poisoning of the water when he was out there, and he shared his details. So if you've missed the first part of the show, then try and go back. And he has to go, but we're just going to have, hopefully, I just want to ask him a few questions about the things he's shared. So please listen to the first part of the show. Stephen, are you still with us?
I am, and thank you, Christine.
Oh, my pleasure. So you were saying, I just found some of the stuff you were sharing interesting about Wahhabism, because we seem to have a problem here in the UK where, you know, as you probably heard, we had the Manchester, there was a concert hall blown up, and then we had a few stabbings, which weren't great. So we have quite a few Wahhabist extremists in the UK. I don't really understand much about them or what they seem to want or where they came from. Or I mean, do you know the answers to that?
Well, with Wahhabism, they take it word for word, and you're to say that we have extremism in all religions, believe it or not. I mean, we had the Catholics versus the Protestant wars, where they pretty much, that was secular violence and, religious on top of that. With Wahhabism, it's not so much about religion as more as about power and control. It's more political than it is actual religious. They're using a religious excuse to push a political agenda and grab power that way. I don't see it as, a religious movement, more as a political movement. And they use that as an excuse.
Oh, right. What power do they want? Just control and money, I suppose, like everyone else.
Not just money, but their people, their taxes. This is actually an old game with the Sharia law, taxing the people. Happened in America. The Babar pirates. They attacked them where they could find them. They taxed the non-Muslims, took them as slaves. That was more of a political power move than it was more about religion. And we see that extremism in a lot of socialism, communism, and you don't have to have a religion. It can be atheism just as well as a religion. The lack of, or, too much of.
Where did they take? Where was it they took the non-Muslims as slaves?
That's the history.
Where was that?
Well, that was the Americans. Remember when we just got done fighting you guys and we became a country of America? Thomas Jefferson had to create a fighting force that could fight on the deck of a ship and fight the Barbar pirates. Turkey actually supported this. Thomas Jefferson went all the way over to Turkey to meet the emperor, or whoever he was, the king of Turkey. There's the battles of Tripoli. We've been fighting Islam since Americans' conception. We actually were fighting Islam before we were even America, and we were just British colonies. If you read the history, ma'am, they took British soldiers and sailors for slaves and ransomed back, of course, the officers, but the other men never made it back. That's history. It's in the history books.
Oh, I didn't know all this. I will have to educate myself. I think
golly, history's it'll bite you in the butt if you don't know it.
Yes, I think you're right. I think they just teach crap in schools, in the UK schools. I mean, we didn't study anything interesting like that. We were lectured on Peel and the reform laws and, stuff that would really bore you. And of course,
propaganda, say the pledge, you learn all that stuff. It really is, they're not the only country that does it. I love America and I love our country and our traditions, but I can also see in some ways people following it blindly as an occult too. You always question authority. No one gives you the authority to be free. If we are Christian men, we understand that. Or women. You're probably not Christian, are you, Christine?
Yes, I am.
You are. Because I find a lot of people over there are more or lean toward atheism or agnostic.
Oh, it's completely, it's a completely this godless country. It's horrible. I mean, the people are really cold and money grabbing, and just it's all about what you've got. It's disgusting. I hate it here, actually.
But it is about greed, and when it comes down to greed, people just can't get enough. They have to have more.
I know.
That's what destroys this country.
England is just repulsive. I think it's pretty much going to get swallowed up by the Muslims, really. I mean, there's getting to be, more of them than us, and I think probably because the whites haven't got any God. They're just all
more
about,
of them than us, and that's a target-rich environment, ma'am. You can't miss. Just shoot straight.
Sorry, say that again.
I said if there's more of them than there are us, then it's a target-rich environment, and you can't miss. Just shoot straight.
Yeah, exactly. So they're aiming just to. It's not really about Sharia law. It's just about they want us as slaves, basically.
No, ma'am. No. It's political power, and they've used this for thousands of years to push that agenda. They can lie, cheat, steal, and kill non-Muslims. It's not a religion, ma'am. It's a cult. It's a political way of life. It's no more religious than Scientology.
Oh, I see.
I didn't hear you feeling that.
Sorry?
You're not a Scientologist, are you?
Oh, God, no. So it's not. Oh, I see. So they didn't give a damn about God, really. It's just kind of control.
They use it as an excuse. Everyone uses an excuse. Gandhi said, I love Jesus Christ, but I don't know about them Christians. Jesus said it himself. There are those who call themselves Jews and are not. Well, there was no Christians back then, so it pertains to the Christians too. When we proclaim ourselves Christians and break all of Jesus's teachings, it's real hard to convince people you're Christian. I see it that way. I think everyone else sees it that way. And if you talk to some person that has issues with Christians, they're going to tell you that, and they're right. I tell people I love Jesus, I love his teachings, and I don't know about them Christians, but Jesus is my way. I don't push it. You don't have to believe that. I'm not going to kill you because you don't believe in Jesus. That's not what Jesus taught. Yet all these Christians, they're so ready to kill for their God. I'm Native American as well. I'm Comanche heritage, and I believe in spiritualism. I believe that there's a force. The definition of force is just a manipulation of energy between two objects. It can be physical, and I can move it that way, or I can coerce it and say, "Would you move?" Oh, yes, please, thank you, and you move. Or I can say, "Move, or I'm gonna punch you in the face." But that's force, and I didn't touch you. I believe in force, but there is a natural force in this world, and it's just the energy between two objects and how it's used. So there is a supernatural in this world. You just gotta look. It all depends on how you look at it. There's a force. Use it.
So do you think this Sharia law thing is going to take over America and the UK? Seemingly you're having marches over there about it. And
are you serious? You seriously believe that? You seriously believe Sharia law is going to take over your country and my country?
No, not America, but possibly.
Asking.
Sorry?
Are you just vaguely asking? I mean, are you wanting my opinion? Because I don't believe that. I don't believe that'll ever happen, ever. Sharia law will not happen here. You're going to see a civil war before that happens, ma'am. You're already seeing a de facto civil war right here in America right now. We just had some guy shoot up a bunch of Republicans. That's going to be repetitive. That starts a movement. That's a shot that's heard around the world. Now, it all depends on how the media portrays it. But a long time ago, that meant something when you tried to kill congressmen or senators. That is going to be a repetitive move. You watch and see, and it probably be in your country as well. People are tired of it on both sides, and when that happens, shoving matches turn into some big fights. People don't debate anymore; they just knock out teeth.
Do you think, though, that there's a sort of a ground zero evil controlling this? I mean, a lot of people, some people that come on the show think it's the Jews. Do you think that there is a Illuminati and, they're sort of jerking us all around until we all kill each other and they have the planet?
There's definitely a club and we're not in it. Yeah, there's definitely a club and we're not in it. Wait, one. Looks like my battery's fixing to die. We're pulling a lot of juice. I'm plugged in, as far as I know. Fixing to die. Illuminati. Let's just say there's a lot of Gnostic beliefs out there. You can label them, but they're pretty much all the same groups. Yeah, there's groups out there that push an agenda. They want something, and they're going to push that agenda. Red versus blue. We see it every day, and we vote every year, and that's all part of the game plan, is to pit each other against each other. That's what the elites do. It's all part of the plan. All part of the game.
And what were they doing out in Iraq, do you think? They just wanted the oil, really, the resources.
What are they doing in Syria right now? There's one of the largest oil deposits right off of Syria and Israel. There's the Leviathan deposit, and that one just above that one. It's even bigger, I believe, that they just discovered. It's about the oil, ma'am. I think there's something very ancient and evil in that oil. And Jesus spoke about archons, which means principalities. The word archaea, which is a type of fungus that Jesus warned about leaven. When he warned us about the principalities leaven, their yeast, and to beware of it, I see a lot of things happening that, maybe some other people, if they saw the world with the eyes of a warrior, because Jesus comes back as a warrior, so maybe everyone should have, a different aspect, a view of a warrior's eyes and how things are happening. That's just my opinion. I see it differently. I don't. Everyone else has their opinion. I think this is going to happen. So it's happened. This is the holy war. That's, you know, if there's more of them than us, that sounds like a bunch of locusts, and they're going to overrun us. Pestilence, diseases, it's all here. Strife between man and lovers of themselves. It was all warned about. Ragnarok. Well, I don't care which one you go with. Armageddon will happen, I'm sure. We're bound to kill each other. We're an aggressive species, man. This is just a test. Some of us will make it. That's true.
Oh, I know. I was agreeing. So what you were saying about the Leviathan, what is that the an oil pit that they found off Syria? What did you, can you say that again?
It's a gas deposit. It's natural gas, natural oils, all your petroleum, rock oil. It's that you're definitely looking at one of the world's largest deposits right there. Whereas there's another one called Behemoth. Those are both names out of the Bible, man. Leviathan and Behemoth. I don't find that coincidental.
Who gave them?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm listening. Who gave them their names? Hello?
Well, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of who did that. It was not BP Oil named, I think, the one off of South America. Was that Behemoth? The oil companies named them off of those names. I just don't know the names. Those corporations, those umbrella corporations.
Yeah. Do you think that there is something ancient evil about the oil? Because, I mean, it seems like it's a good thing because it keeps us all alive and stuff like that, you know?
Well, you know, I find it funny. For the end time, everything happening, and just about everything that we have that we rely on is made of oil. Our pharmaceuticals, we live longer. There's more people on the earth thanks to pharmaceuticals made from petroleum chemicals. So the oil that we thrive on, we're able to live in conditions that we would not live in during the wintertime.
Yes.
Thanks to petroleum products. Okay, so we live longer. Yeah, there's something wrong with that oil. There's something ancient in there that we are willing to kill for, that we're willing to destroy small countries and destabilize the world. Yeah, there's something in that oil. I bet there is. What they call archaea means ancient ones. And archaea is not a fungus. It's not a bacteria. It's not a virus. It's the most ancient living organism on this earth. And it's made up in the oil of everything that ever lived on this earth. That once lived becomes oil, right? I mean, that's science. So all the living plants, coral, the fish, all that deteriorates, and those living organisms become the oil that we drive and build everything into today. I think that there is a supernatural event happening there if you look at it.
Yeah.
And it's just on a microscopic nano scale.
Yeah, meaning that we're supposed to live harder lives and we're trying to live easier lives by grabbing stuff like that. Is that what you mean?
Well, somebody's trying to make our lives easier. And when your life is easier and you're not working hard and doing and producing like Jesus and the Lord tell you to, like in the Bible, you know, they're making it easier and they're giving it to you. I mean, this is pretty easy living here. We don't have to work hard. We're not out in the fields. Who's out there doing that stuff? You know, people had to earn it. They had to live. They had to work to live. Something's wrong. That's what I see. You know, that's how civilizations fail. They get lazy. They become adjusted to this certain lifestyle. Once that falls, you're going back to ancient times. That's it. That's eventually going to happen. EMP attack. I was discussing with another soldier. He thinks, oh God, I got to get out of the city. Nuclear war. I was like, I see them using an EMP attack before they use nukes. You're going to turn your own civilization against each other. These people in towns, we're already rife with destruction. Don't nuke them, just EMP them, electromagnetic pulse, and watch them destroy each other.
Hmm.
They'll kill most of each other off, and you don't have to fire around.
Hmm.
We are a destructive culture. We really are. We live above our.
Yeah, I have to say it was really odd to see the tower block burning. There was a really, I think, 24 stories, 600 people living there, and it just went up and it burned. It burned for ages. It just looked like something biblical, like some kind of satanic sacrifice. I really found it hard to believe that it wasn't something like that.
Did they ever find out what the cause? Electrical.
Well, they're saying it was an exploding fridge. I find that hard to believe as well, especially when the management of the building, some people were trying to get out and they were saying, oh no, just you stay there and you'll get rescued. But of course, they perished in the flames.
Yeah, they're responsible for that management. Wow. I don't know I didn't actually get to keep up with that. I was flooded with the VA shooter. All my search algorithms brought up VA, which is Veterans Administration for me. So I was flooded with this VA shooting. The guy shot up the congressman on the baseball field. I didn't get a chance to keep up with all that. I was going through the UPS. I check all these shooters for if they're veterans or not to see.
Yeah.
That's how I track them.
Yeah.
I'm constantly looking for crime to track these soldiers to see what's going on if they're one of mine.
Yeah, a lot of them, Stephen. Well, a lot of the young boys that do the shootings, they usually have some kind of link with the military. You find, I often think that they're in the Monarch programs. That I'm assuming you've heard of MK Ultra, yes, and the Monarch programs. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know about scopolamine and how it's used. Yes, ma'am. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know about school. I can't say it. How is that used in the mind control, that drug?
It's used in South America right now to rob people, but yes, scopolamine has been used since the 1950s that they've known about it. It's known as Brundaga or the devil's breath, but it can be used in pill form or actually they're little dissolvable. They look like they're breath mints, and you can easily drop and drink. You can put it in a little flesh-colored Band-Aid and put it behind the ear in a time releasing epidural patch, I guess. They use them that way to control subjects that they would use that they need to follow instructions. And you want to follow instructions on scopolamine. It feels like you're being rewarded by dopamine when you do what someone tells you. It's a very strange drug. You actually get a rewarding effect when people tell you, good, you're doing good, you're doing good. It actually produces dopamines in the brain, making you want to do what that individual is telling you to do. I think it's the strangest drug in the world.
But these people they have that trauma. I can't think of the name now. In childhood, where they give them separate alters and split them, and then they program one of the alters to be triggered at a later stage.
Yeah, that's pretty hard training, and I don't think they've ever really actually come across. That's why they use scopolamine now. They don't have to sit down and train these guys for very long. You pull a soldier who's already got the training, great. He's already an asset. He's already trained. He's already going to know what to do. Now when you scopolamine him with a time-releasing capsule or Band-Aid, you can't see it. You're going to retrieve it later because you got a guy waiting to shoot him in the head once he goes on a shooting spree, right? It's all set up. That's what they call false flagging. I don't always believe in this method, but that's how they do it. They put a no-see-um earbud, or I'll take them home, or they or the no-see earbud's a bad to do it. It's a frequency that only they can hear. It's a skin-colored flesh tone no-see earbud. You can only, battery lasts about 3 or 4 hours, long enough to complete the mission. They whisper over a radio or a mic, telling the individual what to do, how to do it, where to go, and what to do. And as they were rewarding him, telling him or her how good they're doing, those dopamine, they feel good about what they're doing, and they're so happy to do it, and they're just so happy that they're working for you. And at the end of the scopolamine, you don't remember any of these incidents. It just totally chemically wipes the brain out. You've got chemical amnesia from scopolamine. Benzodiazepines, all of those drugs are very similar. And when you test an individual for scopolamine, it's going to come up like a benzodiazepine. It's going to be hard. It's going to, they was on Valium. He was on drugs. He was on synthetics, whatever they say. It's easy to see that. That's the scenario that I picture when people talk about false flags and MK Ultra. I am melting, Christine. I'm going to have to let you go because I got to take some girls back home.
Sure. Well, thanks for coming on. So I'm going to keep in touch with you, and you can send me the paperwork. Can you give me your email again, and I'll write it down?
Steve Crosley 73 at gmail.com. My phone number is 830-688-0591. Please feel free to call me if you got a sick veteran in the coalition forces there, UK, Germany, Polish, Bulgarians. I worked side by side with those guys. They were just as much contaminated as we were.
And I'm just seeing that your name Crossley, it's with one S rather than two, like a lot of people. Most people are two S's,
Yeah.
right? You're just one S.
Yeah, that would be the old English. That would be the old English spelling. Crosley, like the radios and cars and refrigerators. I just don't get any royalties. Same family line.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on. And I think you just hang up, and that way you're gone off air, and I just carry on. So really nice to speak to you, Steve. Thanks for coming on and giving me your time.
Thank you, Christine.
Hopefully we'll be able to do. Hopefully we'll be able to do something.
Time to sit down with me at such short notice.
No, it's good because I've taken notes, and I'll be doing some research and hopefully come up with something for the English newspapers, because it's interesting, and I think it should be out there. So I'll definitely be in touch and give you an email, and you can send me over the paperwork. That'd be excellent. So thank you.
I can't wait to you, Christine, and sit down and discuss that and how we can make a better show next time for your viewers. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you, Steve.
Out here.
So, listeners, that was Steve Crossley. I'm sure you've all enjoyed what he was saying. Well, I don't know, is enjoy the right word? So that was really interesting. I also, as well as sharing valuable information, it's so windy here, valuable information about how soldiers have suffered out in Iraq, which I will be investigating. Sorry that the show was really me researching that, but also it's interesting for the listeners to do their own research as well. So I will be doing my own research. And also I found it interesting that he talked very eloquently and openly about his feelings of being in Iraq, and how he started off thinking that he was a hero, and then said he felt like a mercenary after the gold, which was actually the oil. I found that quite interesting to hear that, and also the sad story he shared about the Sunni boys burning the Shire boy on the donkey, and how this poor boy died, and we never get to hear any of these stories. He was saying that he doesn't believe Sharia law will take over America. Certainly it won't America, but the UK is a very small country. It has a massive Muslim population, and it is growing. So I've been reliably told that they will outbreed us, and so it will happen. That will happen here, although it won't everywhere else. It just will happen here, and I think that is what the elites want. Presumably, they will eventually move from here and move to other places, but this place will be like that. So there we are. That's what happens. That's what happens here. It's sad to see, but I know, a lot of people don't believe it's going to happen. But I lived in an area which was just normal, and now it's a very strong Muslim area. I mean, I don't mind. It's interesting when I go back there. It's a lot like being in another country. Sometimes I find it enjoyable to be back there and to see all the different shops that I used to go in now are like sweet shops and halal meat shops. And so part of me does find it interesting, and I think, was it that good? And does it matter it's been wiped away? 'Cause sometimes I don't think we white people have much of a culture to hang on to. And as Stephen was saying, and as I've shared on other shows, it is a really secular country, and we are materialists. And it's odd because there is a working class too, and the working classes, I'm working class myself, they don't seem to read books, and they don't seem to care about books, and they seem to be all about a culture of drinking and partying. And I don't know, the women are all about, well, what kind of lifestyle can I have that's pampered, and the men are all about football and sport, and it just seems as if somehow it doesn't really matter that it's been crunched underfoot, because it's not substantial enough to withstand any kind of attack. And I think a lot of times that we're asleep. I mean, I was just horrified all week by the tower burning, and it just seemed, that it was symbolic in some kind of way. It did seem that it was like some kind of satanic sacrifice. It really did seem like that, because not only were people burned alive in some kind of funeral pyre, but we all had to watch it, and it included children, which of course we know the Satanists like to see burn, and we all literally had to watch it. It was, and if you couldn't get close up, there was people saying, yeah, there was children inside banging on the windows and screaming to get out, and there were some close-ups, but the main vision that was on every front page of every newspaper, unlike the Manchester bombing, which came on and then quickly went off, for the last few days, it's been just that image, and it's on the television wherever I look. And today, when I was in my gym trying to do some work, I saw it, and I saw it everywhere, and I saw it too much. I actually felt so sick, I thought I was just going to pass out, because it is an attack on all of us, and it is there for us to see. And it did seem like a kind of Bohemian Grove type pyre. It really did, the way it went up, and the way it was just burning like that for us all to see. And I, for one, don't believe that it's just a fire and it's just some happening, and we should all focus on the government making sprinklers and focus on that, because really we should focus on what actually went on there, what actually happened, because on that actual day there was also the shooting going on in America. So as Steve witnessed to, the Americans didn't really notice what was going on over here. They tend to be more awake than us, and they, I suppose that was a diversion. They didn't actually register it as much as they should have, because they tend to be awake to these kind of things because they've got Bohemian Grove and all the kind of shit going on, and they might have been awakened and aware of that image of the burning tower, whereas the English are asleep and just now are talking about the government and legislation and, oh, Theresa, get it right next time. I mean, nobody really even seems to give a shit what caused it. It's not even being asked. It's just that, oh, the fabric outside and this kind of thing. It just seems like a massive distraction to me. That's what I felt, and I'm sure there are journalists out there that do suspect something, but then journalists are always controlled by who they work for, so there's no way you can get a story out really. Just if you want a story out, you can only get it. You can only get a story in the paper if you get it past an editor. When I was working in Fleet Street, I got really good at blagging stories past editors, and you really did. It was like getting a ball past a goalie. You really had to say,
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.